Tonight I'm going to tell a personal story about myself and my then fiance named John. We were a young couple and we were very naive and very much in love. We were newly engaged. We had been together for about a year, and this story took place about 6 months, I'd say, after Hurricane Katrina. We were both living on the coast during Katrina, so that was a very difficult time, and that was something that I think grew our relationship and probably what led to us being engaged shortly after that. We had just moved in together, and so we were very happy, and we were a little family. I had a son when we got together, Matthew, and he was about 2 when this story took place. And one night, well, it had been about a week probably, I wasn't feeling well at all, and I hadn't been sleeping at all, so I was feeling sort of crazy, and I'd been feeling off and not well, so we decided together in the middle of the night that I should probably go to the emergency room because I just really wasn't feeling well, and I was just not sleeping and felt sick and just didn't feel right. So John drove me to the emergency room, and we got there and filled out the endless paperwork that comes along with emergency room visits. And as you all probably know, when you go to the emergency room and you're sick enough to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night, but you're not sick enough that you're near death, you have to wait a long time, especially if you live in a larger area like we did on the coast in Mississippi. So the wait was long, and of course, like I said, we went in the middle of the night, so we had been there for 3 hours probably before we finally got to go back into the second waiting room to wait to see someone. And my fiance had a history of passing out if he didn't eat, and so he was feeling a little funky himself. So he'd been just kind of trying to sit down and hang with me. He didn't want to leave and get food. He wanted to stay with me because he was concerned. Finally, like I said, about 3 hours later, we got to see somebody, and it was the wee hours of the morning by this time. And so he stepped out while I was seen by the doctor, and then he came back in, and of course you wait again. After you talk to someone, you wait again for them to tell you what is going on, or what they're going to do, or what they think might be wrong with you. So finally, when the nurses came back in and the doctors, John was there with me, and he was sitting there with me in the room whenever they said, well, you're going to be fine, you're okay, and congratulations, you're pregnant. Well, John immediately said, I need to sit down. So I got up from the patient's table, and he sat there, or laid there, while the nurses scrambled around and tried to figure out why he was going to pass out. He continued to almost pass out. The nurses left, got him some food, while I'm sitting in the little uncomfortable chair in the room, and everyone's scrambling around trying to help John. So as I've just found out that I'm pregnant, my fiance is about to pass out, which doesn't seem like he's happy about the news. Fast forward 9 months later, he was happy about the news. We were very excited, and the doctors were there, and as you all know now, labor and delivery is very interactive. And his family, John's family, also has a history of passing out. So his uncle had actually passed out in the delivery room when his cousin was born, which of course was a long time ago, before it was quite as interactive as it is now. So we're in the delivery room, and Miranda was about to come into the world, and Dr. Christie looked over at John and said, do you want to cut the cord? And John said no. He just said no. That was all he said. He wouldn't speak any more words. He just kept looking at me. And he kept on saying, you sure you don't want to? You sure? And he said, no, mm-mm. Well, luckily he didn't pass out, but he was about to. Finally, Dr. Christie cut the cord, and we were very happy and excited to have Miranda. Fast forward 6 years later, and I was pregnant with Madeline, which we planned and we were excited about from the beginning, and he didn't almost pass out when I told him. And the very cute thing was that all throughout the pregnancy, I joked with him about, you know, cutting the cord in the delivery room and how I knew he wouldn't do it, and I told the doctor not even to ask him. And he actually did cut the cord at Madeline's delivery, so it was sort of nice because that was our last child, and that was going to be the last time he was going to have the opportunity to do that. And he was very interactive in that delivery, so I think that that sort of showed his progression in time and maybe his progression in parenthood, because as a parent, I think most of us know you get a strong stomach. So that's my personal story.